Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is my another video on Angular interview preparation. In my previous video, I have covered some important Angular interview questions that is usually asked by interviewers. You must watch that video to know the important questions and their answers. You can find the link in description for that. And today we will continue on some more important interview questions. So this video will definitely help you to crack Angular interviews. So please watch this video till end to know all the important questions and their answers. So let's start. So first question is what is eager loading, lazy loading and the preloading? So first we will see about eager loading. In eager loading, modules will be loaded before application starts. And if we want eager load a module, then we need to import that module in app component. So just like this, we can import it in a module. And in lazy loading, modules will load on demand when a specific route accessed. And if you want to lazy load a module, then we should not import it in app component and we need to use load children method while registering routes, and modules will be loaded in async mode. And this is how we can load our modules lazily. And in preloading, modules will load after application starts and we need to use load children method while registering the routes, and we need to provide preload strategy while importing router module.forRoute for the routes, and modules will be loaded in async mode. So this is how we can provide preload strategy. So when we apply this preload all modules strategy, then all the modules that is imported by load children method, that will be loaded using preloading. Next we will see what is difference between observables and promises. Observables will not execute until subscription, whereas promise execute at same time of creation. And observables can be used to receive multiple values, whereas promise will be used only for one event. We can use chaining and pipes for transformation with observables, whereas promise have only then clause. We can unsubscribe in an observable, whereas promises are not cancelable. Next we will see what are the standalone components. So at a high level we can say we can use standalone components to get rid of modules. And I created a detailed video on standalone components and you can find the link in description. Please watch that video for detailed understanding of standalone components. Next we will see explain the dependency injection. So dependency is one of the core concept of Angular, and it allows us to provide dependencies to components, services, pipes and directives. There are two things in dependency injection system: dependency provider and dependency consumer. Angular's injector object is responsible for finding existing instance and creating new instance of dependency using configured providers. When a dependency is requested, the injector checks its registry to check if there is an instance already available there. If not, a new instance is created and stored in the registry. An injectable decorator is required on a class to make it injectable. We need to add injectable classes to providers to make it available in dependency injection. And we can provide a dependency on multiple places. First we will see component level, and for component level we need to provide the dependency in provider field of component decorator. When we provide dependency at component level, then there will be a new instance for each object of that component. And second we can see module level, and in module level we need to provide the dependency in provider field of ng module decorator. And when we provide dependency at module level, then there will be same instance of a service in all the components of that module. Third, we will see root level, and we need to set provided in root in injectable decorator. When we set a service as provided in root, then there will be a single instance of a service in whole application. It will not depend any component or module. There will be only single instance. Next, we will see what are the lifecycle hooks in Angular. So every component instance has its own lifecycle that starts when Angular creates its instance and render the view, and it continues with the change detection and ends when Angular destroy the component instance and remove view content from the DOM. Here are some types of lifecycle hooks. So first we will see ng on change. So this hook is called when Angular sets or resets data inputs, and we can use it to check previous and current values of the data inputs. We can compare that if any value changed or not. Next we will see ng on init. So this hook will be called only once while initializing the component or directives. We can use it to initialize component level things like forms or some other things. Next is ng do check. So this hook will be called on every change detection run and after ng on init on the first run. We can use it to detect and act upon the changes that Angular can't detect. The next is ng after content init. So this hook will be called only once after first ng do check to respond after Angular projects external content into the components view. And next is ng after content checked. This hook will be called after ng after content init and every subsequent ng do check. And we can use it to respond after Angular checks the content projected into the component. Next is ng after view init. So this hook will be called only once after first ng after content checked, and we can use it to respond after Angular initialize the components view. And next is ng after view checked. So this hook will be called after the ng after view init and every subsequent ng after content checked, and we can use it to respond after Angular checks the components view. And next is ng on destroy. So this hook will be called just before Angular destroys the component, and we can use it to clean up the objects like observables or events. And these lifecycle hooks will call in the same sequence in which I have explained. Next we will see what is change detection and how does the change detection mechanism works. So the change detection is a process that is used by Angular to check whether our application has changed and if any DOM element needs to be updated. Angular runs it periodically so that changes to data models can be reflected in view. And change detection can be triggered manually or on browser events or on HTTP request completion. If we trigger it frequently, then it can cause slowness in our application. When change detection runs, it checks every expression used in component template with the previous values of that property. If it found any changes, then it reflects that changes in DOM. We can trigger it manually by calling change detection reference dot detect changes method. Just like this, we can detect the changes manually. Next, we will see what are router links. So this is a directive that is used to create links for the routes, and we can apply it to any element in a component template. And when we click on a link created by router link, then it will open that requested route where router outlet is provided. And we can use router link like href in anchor tag, or we can use to prepare route dynamically. So this is how we can provide router links. Next, we will see what are the HTTP interceptors. So interceptors are used to do some work before sending HTTP request and after receiving HTTP response at global level. So generally we use interceptors for appending token in HTTP request and handle errors of HTTP response. So as you can see in this example, we inherited HTTP interceptor interface and provided implementation of intercept method. So here we get the token from our auth service and attached in request. So this is how we can use interceptors. Next we will see what are the guards. If you want to control accessibility of routes based on conditions, then we can use Angular guards to do this. So there are some types of guards. So first we will see can activate. So it decides if a route can be activated or not, and it will be applicable only on a route in which we configured. And next is can activate child. So it decides if child routes can be activated or not, and it will be applicable on the child routes of a route in which we configured. Next is can load. It decides if child routes can be loaded or not. It will be applicable on lazy loaded children of a route in which we configured. Next is can deactivate. So it decides if a route can be deactivated or not. Thank you for watching this video. Please like it and share it with your friends, and please subscribe the channel to watch similar kind of videos.